Hello students, welcome back to my class. And today we'll be doing Roots by Ismat Chugtai. In my previous session, I had given you a brief introduction of Ismat Chugtai and the story. And today we'll be studying the story in detail. So the story opens after the independence, that is after the 15th August 1947, and the opening paragraph says, it describes that the faces were pale and food was not cooked in the house, and it was the 6th day of the forced holiday from the school for children who were making life miserable for adults, because children do not understand the seriousness. And the children did not even know that English had left, and while leaving they had inflicted such a deadly wound that it would fester for years to come. Now here there is a description of the post-partition conditions of India. As we all know that communal harmony had been under a threat while at the time of partition. And if we refer to the Indian history, we come to know that communal harmony of a nation was really threatened, and it was disturbed by the forceful entry and prolonged stay of the foreign invaders in our territories. And after many ups and downs, discriminations, chaos, disorder, pain, suffering, then there was a lot of loss and injustice we witnessed in the past, and even in the present we have some hateful incidents, like if you remember the Godhra Kand and Babri Masjid case. All these things, they disturb the communal harmony. But it was also at the time of partition also, communal harmony was under great threat, and there were so many atrocities which were inflicted on Hindus and on Muslims. It was both ways. Hindus and Muslims both suffered, and they also inflicted atrocities on each other. So we know that in our country the communal harmony had been always on threat. So in this paragraph it is mentioned that after the English had left, there is a metaphor. Through the metaphor there is a reference how it is. He's explaining it. She's explaining, Ismat Chugtai. She says that English had left, and while leaving they had inflicted such deadly wound that it would fester for years to come. कि जब इंग्लिश गए थे तो उन्होंने एक ऐसा घाव इंडिया पे कर दिया था कि वो घाव बहुत बरसों तक वो जीवित रहेगा. और वो कैसे? बिकॉज इंडिया वॉज ऑपरेटेड अपॉन विथ क्लमजी हैंड्स एंड ब्लंट नाइव्स, that thousands of arteries left open, rivers of blood flowed, and no one had the strength to stitch the wounds. ये बहुत ही खूबसूरत मेटाफर से इसकी जो गंभीरता है, इस चीज़ को एक्सप्लेन किया गया है यहाँ पर. दैट इंडिया वॉज ऑपरेटेड बाय वेरी क्लमजी हैंड्स, कि बहुत ही क्लमजी हैंड से. दैट इज़ English, they left India, but they inflicted the wound because they divided India into two parts, India and Pakistan, and they inflicted so much that he said the wound that they created, it would fester for years. कि वो हमेशा ऐसा, वो जो घाव है वो हमेशा हरा रहेगा और चलता रहेगा. As we know, even after 70 years of independence, there is still skirmishes. There is still that India and Pakistan, they are not on cordial terms. वो हमेशा झगड़े के उसमें रहते हैं, और so many soldiers die every year of India and Pakistan. So it was initiated in 1947, and this sort of bloodshed, it's still continuing now. So he says that there's a description. It says, had it been a normal day, the little devils would have been outdoors, but for the last couple of days the atmosphere had become so foul that the Muslims of the city were virtually living under the siege, and the houses were padlocked. Padlocked मतलब घरों पर ताले लगे हुए थे, और जो जितने भी लोग थे वो घर से बाहर नहीं निकल रहे थे. They were spending most of the time at home. The houses were padlocked and the police patrolled outside. and children were free to let loose their terror. Now there's a description of the children, how they behave, because as we know that small children, it is very difficult to control small children because वो इतनी शैतानी करते हैं और उनको अंदर घरों में बंद रखना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, बिकॉज दे डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड द सीरियसनेस ऑफ व्हाट इज़ हैपनिंग अराउंड देम. तो वो कह रहे थे कि इन बच्चों ने बहुत ज़्यादा हंगामा कर रखा था. एंड देयर इज़ अ डिस्क्रिप्शन दैट ऑफ कोर्स सिविल लाइन्स वाज क्वाइट एज यूजुअल. सिविल लाइन्स वो एरिया होता है जहाँ पर कि जो रूलर्स होते हैं या जो एरिस्टोक्रेट्स और रूलिंग अथॉरिटीज़ रहते हैं उनको सिविल लाइन्स बोलते हैं. जैसे हर एक सिटी में नॉर्मली सिविल लाइन्स होता है. जैसे अपने जयपुर में है वो जो गवर्नर का, चीफ मिनिस्टर का जो हाउस है, वो जो उसके आसपास का जो एरिया है, दैट इज़ सिविल लाइन्स. इसे सिविल लाइन्स वॉज क्वाइट एज यूजुअल कि वहाँ पर ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो रहा था. बट इन एनी केस filth spreads where there is surfeit of children, poverty and ignorance, and preying grounds for religious fanaticism. Fanaticism कट्टरवाद जो होता है, and seeds of which had already been sown. On top of it, the swelling number of refugees from Punjab created panic among the minority Muslim community. Now this is a description. तो वहाँ उस समय का वर्णन है जब पार्टीशन हो रखा था. और ये कहते हैं ना, फॉर द 6th डे मतलब ये करीब 21 अगस्त की बात है इन 1947, जिसका डिस्क्रिप्शन इसमें चुगताई अपनी स्टोरी में दे रही हैं. सो ही सेज कि ये ऑल दिस थिंग्स इट वाज ये सब हो रहा था. और उसके बाद में क्या है कि द सीरियसनेस वाज ग्रोइंग ऑल द मोर ग्रेव बिकॉज द रेफ्यूजीज़ वर कमिंग फ्रॉम पंजाब से जो रेफ्यूजीज़ आ रहे थे, दैट इज़ हिंदूज़ वर कमिंग टू इंडिया एंड मुस्लिम्स वर गोइंग टू पाकिस्तान. तो जैसे जैसे रेफ्यूजीज़ आने लगे पंजाब से, तो मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी में बहुत ज़्यादा डर पैदा हो रहा था, पैनिक, डर हो रहा था. बिकॉज द गार्बेज डंप वॉज बीइंग रेक्ड एंड फिल्थ हैड कम ऑन टू द रोड. ये भी एक मेटाफर है कि जो मेटाफर है ये कि कचरे का ढेर, जो गंदगी का ढेर होता है, उसको छेड़ा जा रहा था और फिर सारी बदबू इधर उधर फैल रही थी, सड़क पे फैल गया था. यानी कि ये क्या है, सिम्बॉलिकली वो क्या कह रहा है मेटाफर. इस मेटाफर के थ्रू वो क्या कहना चाह रही है कि जो गंद जो है, जो दिमाग की गंद है या जैसी भी है, वो सब बाहर आ रही थी और वो कचरा सारा चारों तरफ सड़कों पे फैला हुआ था. बिकॉज देयर वाज सो मच ऑफ ब्लड शेड विच वॉज देयर ऑन द रोड्स. So now in this paragraph, there's a description that how these children, they wrote Pakistan Zindabad and Akhand Hindustan, and they had a fight among themselves. The police came and the children were sent home. Now when these children came home, they were treated normally. If in normal conditions, if these children had come home, then they would have been beaten and they would have been scolded for having a fight. But this time they did not do that, because Roopchand ji and Abba, that is this narrator's father, they were very close friends. And even the ladies, they were also great friends. कि उनकी sister-in-law, that is sister-in-law, इसकी भाभी और उनकी बहुएं, they were also friends. This close friendship extended to the children The two families were so close to each other for over 3 generations that no one had the slightest suspicion that the country's partition would rupture their relationship. Now, this is very important. He's saying 3 पीढ़ियों तक उनकी इतनी अच्छी दोस्ती थी और कोई ये इमेजिन भी नहीं कर सकता था कि अपने देश का जो पार्टीशन है वो उनकी दोस्ती को उसमें सेंध डाल देगा और उसको रप्चर कर देगा, मतलब उसको तोड़ देगा. There were of course members of the Muslim League, Congress and the Hindu Mahasabha in both families who held fierce debates on religions and political matters. अब वो कहते हैं कि इसमें सभी तरह के लोग थे, जो भी थे, तो हिंदू परिषद के थे, हिंदू महासभा के थे, या मुस्लिम लीग के थे, कांग्रेस के थे, और सब लोग क्रिकेट मैच के भी, क्रिकेट प्लेयर्स भी थे, फुटबॉल फैंस भी थे, ये सब थे. एंड इफ़ अब्बा वॉज अ कांग्रेस वाला, डॉक्टर साहब एंड बड़े भाई साहब वॉज सपोर्टर्स ऑफ द लीग, एंड ज्ञानचंद जी वॉज महासभाई, वाइल मजले भाई वॉज अ कम्युनिस्ट and Gulab Chand ji was a socialist. Now within these two families there were followers of all kinds of parties, but though they followed different kinds of ideology, but they had very cordial relation among themselves. वो किसी भी पार्टी को बिलोंग करते थे, लेकिन उनके खुद के जो रिलेशंस थे, आपसी जो संबंध थे, वो बहुत ही cordial थे, बहुत ही अच्छे थे. Women and children supported the party patronized by their husband or father. तो जब भी कोई आर्ग्यूमेंट वॉज ensued, it was usually the Congress supporters who tipped the scales, and abuses were hurled at the socialist and the communist, but they would both end up siding with Congress. अब इनमें ऐसे चलता रहता था, बहसबाजी चलती रहती थी, but it was all on a very friendly mode. They never had any animosity between themselves. So, however, over the last couple of years, there was a groundswell of support for both League and the Mahasabha. अब यहाँ पर उसका pre-independence type का. Now this story actually goes from present to the past, and then for a certain things it also follows the future also, मतलब in the present times actually. So this is the description of the past, that how these party members or how these family members they behaved themselves, that they belong to different parties, but despite of belonging to different parties, they had very cordial relations. So this paragraph is about that, cordial relations. Now in this paragraph actually ये हंसी मजाक भी करते रहते थे. So he says, my Lallu will marry none but Munni, the Mahasabha. Gyanchand would tell Munni's father, the leaguer, that is जो मुस्लिम लीग के जो थे वो उनको ऐसे छेड़ते थे कि भाई मेरा लल्लू तो तुम्हारी मुन्नी से ही शादी करेगा, एंड वी विल ब्रिंग गोल्ड एंकलेट्स फॉर हर, और हम फिर उसके लिए सोने का वो एंकलेट लाएंगे, यानी इसके पायजेब लेकर आएंगे. तो इसे यार आई होप दे वोंट सिंपली बी गोल्ड प्लेटेड. बड़े भाई साहब वुड हैव अ डिग एट ज्ञानचंद ट्रेड. अब वो ज्ञानचंद जो थे वो एक सोने का काम भी करते थे, गोल्ड का काम, तो वो बस ऐसे उससे मजाक करते थे कि ऐसा नहीं है कि तुम सोने की जगह सोने के प्लेटेड दे दो, सिर्फ उससे सोने का पानी चढ़ा हुआ हो ऐसे दे दे. दैट इज़ देयर यूज्ड टू बी लॉट ऑफ जोक्स shared by them. So now he says, if the National Guards wrote Pakistan Zindabad on the walls, the party of Sevak Sangh, Rashtriya Sevak जो RSS है, would wipe it out and wrote Akhand Hindustan. This was a time when the formation of Pakistan was still a matter of jokes and jibes. ये पास्ट की बात कह रहे हैं कि कोई अगर वो लिखता था पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद तो अखंड हिंदुस्तान RSS वाले लिख देते थे. And this was at the time before the time of partition. So इस तरह का चलता रहता था, and nobody knew that this is going to happen. Now this was the time, ये जैसे है, this was the time when the formation of Pakistan was still a matter of jokes and jibes. कि ये जो है पाकिस्तान सिर्फ एक बातों में ही था, किसी को नहीं पता था जैसे पाकिस्तान बन भी जाएगा क्या. Abba and Roopchand ji listened to all this and smile, and they would make plans for a united Asia. अब ये जो है अब्बा के बच्चे और रूपचंद जी के बच्चे, ये सारी जो वो चल रहे हैं, ये बहसबाजी चलती है, वो उनके बच्चों के बारे में चलती है, बल्कि अब्बा और रूपचंद जी जो हैं वो फिर बैठ के इनकी बातें सुनते थे और स्माइल करते रहते थे। और वो लोग प्लान करते थे कि हम यूनाइटेड एशिया के बारे में, ये नहीं कि यूनाइटेड इंडिया, दे यूज्ड टू टॉक अबाउट यूनाइटेड एशिया। तो इसमें आप देखेंगे कि इन दिस स्टोरी Ismat Chugtai has tried to express the communal harmony, that there was no Hindu-Muslim jhagda types in through these two families. She is trying to portray that there was quite a lot of communal harmony, and of course there were exceptions, और हुआ भी था at the time of Pakistan, at the time of independence, और कुछ लोग अभी भी हैं, like in India we live with all harmony with the Hindu, Muslim, Sikh and Christians, everyone live in harmony. But sometimes it happens that this harmony is disrupted. But there are some very mature people like Abba and Roopchand ji who make their best efforts to keep that communal harmony. So today we will study only till here at till page number 59, and in my next session we will be doing the other part of the story. So till then, goodbye.